Chapter 1. A dreamy beginning in the velvet hush of a moonless night, where the world slumbers under a canopy of endless stars, twinkling like scattered diamonds across an infinite sea. Imagine the faint echo of footsteps resonating through an ancient stone corridor, each step a soft whisper against time-worn flagstones, cool and smooth beneath bare feet, carrying you deeper into the shadowy embrace of forgotten vaults, hidden within the heart of an age-old bank. The air hangs heavy with the scent of aged stone and faint, lingering incense, drifting like a gentle mist from long-extinguished braziers, inviting you to drift along this dreamy path, where secrets of money and power lie concealed in the quiet folds of history, unfolding without rush or alarm, lulling your senses into a state of serene immersion. Dear listener, let this nocturnal journey envelop you like a warm blanket on a chilly eve, your breath slowing to match the rhythmic patter of those distant steps, drawing you into the enigmatic world of ancient banks where hidden rooms guard not just gold, but the very whispers of empires past. The corridor stretches onward, its walls etched with faint carvings of serpents and keys, symbols of protection and mystery, their lines softened by centuries of gentle erosion, illuminated only by the occasional flicker of imaginary moonlight seeping through narrow slits high above, casting elongated shadows that dance lazily like flames in a dying fire, evoking the timeless allure of places where wealth was born from secrecy. Feel the cool draft brushing your skin, carrying hints of damp earth and polished metal, a sensory prelude to the revelations ahead, wherein civilizations long faded, be it the marble temples of Greece or the ziggurats at Mesopotamia banks, emerge not as stark institutions, but as sanctuaries of trust, their hidden depths cradling fortunes that shaped destinies. The footsteps grow nearer yet softer, as if the wanderer is you, exploring without fear, each echo a gentle nudge toward deeper relaxation, where the night's quiet amplifies the subtle creak of an unseen door, heavy with iron hinges that sigh open like a breath held too long, revealing glimpses of chambers veiled in shadow, promising stories of money's quiet power. In this dreamy commencement, the world outside fades to irrelevance, leaving only the corridor's tranquil allure, its stones whispering, tales of ancient guardians who tread these paths by torchlight, their robes rustling faintly like leaves in a midnight breeze, safeguarding treasures that transcended mere coinage packs of alliance, troves of influence, all nestled in rooms designed to elude the prying eyes of thieves and kings alike. The air thickens with possibility, scented now with the imagined aroma of wax from sealing stamps and papyrus scrolls, each detail a thread in the tapestry of mystery, weaving you into a state of peaceful curiosity, where questions arise not with urgency, but with the languid flow of a stream, meandering through moonlit meadows. Here in the genesis of our tale, the hidden rooms beckon not with danger, but with the soft allure of secrets shared in confidence. Much like how ancient bankers cloaked in robes of authority would retreat to these sanctums under starlit skies there, minds attuned to the delicate balance of wealth and enigma. As the footsteps fade into silence, leaving only the profound quiet of anticipation, envision the corridor branching into dim passages, each leading to realms of gold and parchment, where the dreamy narrative unfolds layer by layer, inviting you to surrender to its gentle rhythm, your thoughts drifting like clouds across a nocturnal sky. In this era of antiquity, banks were more than repositories. They were dreamscapes of human ambition, their hidden rooms the silent witnesses to transactions that altered histories, all preserved in the cool embrace of stone. Dear listener, rest easy in this beginning, allowing the night's serenity to wash over you, preparing your senses for the births and ideas that follow, where money's secrets reveal themselves in whispers, fostering a fortune of imagination without the weight of wakefulness. Chapter 2. The Birth of Banks. In the tranquil depths of that ancient corridor, where the echoes of footsteps have faded into a profound silence that wraps around you like the softest silk, dear listener, let us gently drift backward through the mists of time to the very cradle of banking's inception, emerging not from grand palaces or bustling markets, but from the sacred hush of temples and the sun-baked streets of primordial cities, where humanity first learned to entrust their treasures to guardians of stone and spirit, forging the foundations of wealth in an era when money was as much myth as metal. Imagine the warm sands of Mesopotamia shifting underfoot, each grain a whisper of forgotten winds, carrying the scent of river reeds and fertile clay, as the first bankers' priests in flowing robes, adorned with symbols of gods like Enki, the wise keeper of waters, gathered in ziggurats towering like stepped mountains against a cerulean sky, their heights piercing the heavens, where offerings of grain and silver were not merely stored but sanctified, transforming simple deposits into divine pacts of security, lulling the depositors into a sense of eternal safety amid the unpredictable rhythms of flood and famine. Feel the cool shade of those massive mud brick walls enveloping you, their surfaces etched with cuneiform scripts that recount tales of loans extended for barley fields or trade caravans. Each wedge-shaped mark a testament to the birth of credit, where borrowing was a sacred act, repaid with the harvest's bounty under the watchful eyes of deities, ensuring that wealth circulated like the life-giving Tigris and Euphrates, nurturing civilizations without the chaos of hoarding. Dear listener, allow this historical reverie to soothe your mind like a gentle lullaby, your breaths deepening in sync with the slow rise and fall of ancient tides. As we wander further into the origins, picturing the bustling yet serene agora of ancient Greece, where philosophers in tunics debated virtue under olive trees, whose leaves rustled faintly in the Mediterranean breeze, scented with salt and wild herbs, and where temples dedicated to Athena or Hermes served as the earliest banks, their marble columns gleaming white under the sun's benevolent gaze, casting long shadows that danced lazily across courtyards paved with polished stone, smooth and cool to the touch. Here, in the shadow of the Parthenon, merchants would deposit their drachmas silver coins stamped with owls, symbols of wisdom, into sacred vaults, entrusted to priests who recorded transactions on wax tablets with styluses that scratched softly, like whispers in the wind, creating ledgers that balanced debts and credits with mathematical precision. A dreamy precursor to modern finance, where trust was the true currency, allowing traders to voyage across the Aegean without the burden of heavy purses. their ships slicing through azure waves that lapped rhythmically against hulls, carrying goods like wine and olive oil, repaid upon return with interest that honored the temple's role as intermediary, fostering prosperity in a world where gods oversaw every exchange, turning potential loss into shared fortune. As the sun dips lower in this imagined sky, painting the horizon in hues of gold and crimson that reflect off temple roofs tiled in terracotta, envision the transition to Rome's forums. Vast open spaces humming with the low murmur of togas-clad citizens haggling over amphorae of garum and bolts of fine wool, where banking evolved from temple treasuries to the basilica's grand halls with vaulted ceilings, echoing the soft footsteps of argentari, the money changers, their tables laden with sestertii and aurii that clinked. Melodically, each coin's weight, a tactile assurance of value, scented faintly with the metallic tongue of fresh minting. These early bankers, often freed slaves risen to prominence, would extend loans for aqueduct constructions or gladiatorial, gains recording them on papyrus scrolls sealed with wax that dripped slowly from candles flickering in brass holders their flames, casting warm, wavering light across walls adorned with frescoes of Mercury, god of commerce, his winged sandals. A symbol of swift transactions, where debt was not a chain, but a bridge to empire building, repaid through taxes on conquered lands, circulating wealth like the yin, blood in Rome's vast body politic, all within structures that hid deeper chambers, precursors to the hidden rooms we shall explore, where senators whispered deals in shadowed alcoves, the air thick with the aroma of incense burned to invoke favor from the gods, ensuring that banking's birth was steeped in ritual and reverence, a dreamy fusion of the mundane and the mystical. Drift deeper now, dear listener, into the sands of ancient Egypt, where the Nile's gentle floods brought life annually, its waters murmuring like an eternal song, scenting the air with lotus blossoms and rich silt, and where pharaohs, granaries doubled as banks, massive silos of baked clay, storing not just wheat, but deben of copper and gold, weighed on balances that tipped with precise, hypnotic grace, overseen by scribes in linen kilts, who inscribed records on ostraka pottery shards with reed pens dipped in ink that flowed smoothly, capturing loans for pyramid builders or tomb artisans, repaid with a labor's fruits under the sun god, or as unblinking eye turning banking into a cosmic cycle, or wealth mirrored the river's rise and fall hidden. Storerooms buried beneath temples to Isis or Osiris guarding against tomb robbers, their doors sealed with spells and heavy stones that ground softly when moved, evoking a sense of eternal secrecy that lulled the kingdom into stability, where money's birth was intertwined with the afterlife, promising prosperity beyond the mortal coil. In these cradle civilizations, banking was born from necessity's quiet whisper, evolving from barter's clumsiness to the elegance of recorded trust, where hidden ledgers in temple archives, illuminated by oil lamps, whose wicks burned steadily with a faint, smoky aroma. Detailed interest is a fair share of growth, not greed, allowing farmers to borrow seeds and repay with sheaves, merchants to fund expeditions across deserts, caravan trails dusted with spice scents, all fostering societies that bloomed like oases in arid lands, without the discord of unchecked ambition. Picture the Persian Empire's royal roads, stretching like veins across vast plateaus, where satraps maintained treasuries in fortified palaces, their halls echoing with the soft clink of Darik's gold coins, pure and radiant loan to allies for wars or trades. Recorded in Aramaic on clay tablets baked permanence, the process of meditative ritual performed in rooms lit by hanging lamps that swayed gently, casting patterns like dancing fireflies, where banking's infancy embraced diversity, from Zoroastrian ethics of honest dealing to the practicalities of imperial taxation, circulating wealth to bind empires in peaceful prosperity. As we meander through these origins, feel the weight of history settle lightly upon you, like a feather on still water, each civilization adding layers to banking's dreamy narrative Sumerians with their temple economies, where gods owned the wealth and priests lent on their behalf, ensuring famines were averted through stored surpluses. Phoenicians sailing trade routes with letters of credit etched on purple-dyed parchments, their ship's sails billowing in salty breezes, all converging in a tapestry of innovation, where money became fluid, hidden in vaults to protect against invasions, yet accessible through trust's invisible key. The air in these ancient spaces would carry the subtle fragrance of myrrh and frankincense, burned in censers to purify transactions, lulling participants into a state of calm assurance, where borrowing was a pact with fate, repaid with the earth's generosity, turning scarcity into abundance without strife. Envision now the Indian subcontinent's ancient markets, alive with the chatter of Sanskrit chants and the aroma of cardamom and sandalwood, where Vedic texts described rina debts as sacred duties, managed by guild bankers in stupa-adjacent halls, their wooden beams carved with lotus motifs, storing punch-marked coins in earthen jars buried for safety. Loans extended for spice trades along silk routes, repaid with monsoon harvests. The system a harmonious blend of dharma and commerce, where hidden rooms and ashrams safeguarded scrolls of accounts, their papery rustle a soothing sound amid meditative silences. Similarly, in China's Zhou dynasty, bronze vessels inscribed with loan terms stood in ancestral halls, scented with jasmine incense, where feudal lords borrowed grain from state granaries, repaying with silk or jade, fostering a bureaucratic banking that emphasized balance. Like yin and yang, with records kept in bamboo slips tied with silk cords, their gentle clatter evoking the flow of the Yellow River, ensuring wealth circulation supported dynastic longevity without upheaval. These births of banks, dear listener, were not abrupt, but evolved like a river carving canyons over eons, each culture contributing elements: Mesopotamian interest calculations, Greek philosophical underpinnings of trust, Roman legal frameworks that wove into the fabric of finance, all cradled in structures that hinted at secrecy's necessity, where hidden rooms began as simple cellars or sanctified inner sanctums, guarding against the uncertainties of war and whim, yet promoting growth through prudent lending. Feel the serenity of this knowledge seeping into your thoughts like warm tea on a cool evening, relaxing every muscle as we prepare to delve into the idea of those concealed spaces, the true heart of our dreamy tale, where money's secrets slumber in eternal quiet. In reflection, banking's genesis was a poetic dance of human ingenuity, born in the quiet corners of temples and forums, where the clink of coins and scratch of quills composed symphonies of stability, inviting societies to dream of prosperity without fear. Each transaction a step in an unhurried waltz toward civilization's heights. As the corridor's shadows lengthen in our mind's eye, carrying the faint echo of ancient voices discussing terms by lamplight, let this chapter's end lull you further, dear listener, into peaceful contemplation, the birth complete, ready for the mysteries that follow in gentle succession. Chapter 3. The Idea of Hidden Rooms. In the lingering hush of that ancient corridor, where the echoes of Banting's birth still resonate like faint ripples on a tranquil pond, dear listener, let us now gently turn our attention to the very essence of concealment. The idea of hidden rooms themselves, born not from paranoia or greed, but from the quiet wisdom of necessity, emerging in those primordial temples and forums as sanctuaries within sanctuaries, where the vulnerabilities of wealth demanded layers of protection, woven into the architecture like invisible threads in a silken tapestry, ensuring that money's secrets slumbered undisturbed amid the ceaseless flow of human ambition. Picture the sun-drenched walls of a Mesopotamian ziggurat, their baked bricks warm to the touch and etched with protective incantations against demons and thieves, rising tier upon tier toward the gods, yet burrowing deep below into subterranean chambers carved from the earth itself, cool and dim, scented with the damp richness of clay and the faint, earthy tang of buried roots, where priests conceived these hidden spaces as extensions of divine will, safeguarding silver ingots and grain tallies from the ravages of invading armies or the covetous eyes of rivals, allowing the cycle of loans and repayments to persist uninterrupted, turning potential chaos into the serene continuity of commerce, much like how a seed hidden in soil withstands winter's chill to bloom in spring as gentle warmth. Dear listener, allow this conceptual exploration to enfold you like a soft fog rolling over moonlit hills, your mind easing into its dreamy contours, breath slowing to match the unhurried pace of ancient builders who, with chisels that scraped rhythmically against stone, hollowed out these secret vaults, their purposes multifaceted protection from physical threats, yes, but also from the intangible perils of envy and betrayal, where in the cradle of civilization, wealth was not merely accumulated, but stewarded as a communal trust, hidden to preserve balance in societies where kings and commoners alike depended on the stability of stored value. Envision the Greek temples, their marble facades gleaming under azure skies, columns standing sentinel like petrified giants, yet concealing inner adytons, sacred inner rooms accessed only through cleverly disguised doors that blended seamlessly with ornate friezes depicting myths of guarded treasures. Like the Golden Fleece or Pandora's Box, the air within these spaces thick with the aroma of olive oil lamps flickering softly, casting golden hues on walls adorned with frescoes of watchful deities, where the idea took root that hidden rooms were essential for maintaining the sanctity of deposits, shielding them from Spartan raids or Athenian political upheavals, ensuring that merchants could borrow for voyages across the wine-dark sea, repaying with amphorae of oil or wine, the secrecy fostering a dreamy assurance that wealth, once entrusted, would endure like the eternal stars overhead. As we delve deeper into this idea, Feel the cool stone under your fingertips, smooth and unyielding, evoking the Roman basilicas where the concept of hidden rooms evolved into sophisticated cryptae, underground vaults reinforced with iron, grates that clanged softly when locked, their mechanisms oiled to move with whispering precision. Buried beneath bustling forums, with a scent of fresh-baked bread from nearby thermopolia, mingled with the metallic tang of coins, being counted on abacuses, clacking gently like rain on leaves. These rooms were ideated not just for hoarding, but for strategic discretion, allowing senators to conduct confidential loans for military campaigns or public works, hidden from the plebeian gaze to prevent unrest, where the philosophy underpinning them drew from Stoic ideals of prudence, viewing secrecy as a virtue that protected the res publica, much like how a philosopher hides profound truths in parables, revealing them only to the worthy, thereby circulating wealth through invisible channels that bolstered empire without the discord of open envy, turning the hidden into a pillar of visible prosperity, all within structures where architects incorporated false walls and pivoting statues, their movements a subtle ballet of concealment, lulling guardians into a state of vigilant calm. Drift now, dear listener, to the banks of the Nile, where Egyptian pharaohs and their viziers conceptualized hidden rooms as extensions of the afterlife's tombs, vast underground complexes beneath temple pylons that loomed like gateways to eternity, their entrances sealed with massive granite slabs that ground ponderously when shifted by teams of laborers chanting in rhythmic harmony. The interiors cool and echoing, scented with myrrh incense burned in alabaster bowls whose smoke curled lazily upward, veiling the stacks of Devon weights and golden scarabs in a hazy shroud. The idea here was rooted in the duality of life and death wealth, hidden to thwart tomb robbers, whose footsteps might echo treacherously in the night, but also to symbolize the pharaoh's divine mandate over abundance, allowing loans for irrigation canals or pyramid constructions to be recorded on papyrus scrolls stored in niches carved like honeycombs, repaid through the Nile's annual inundation, where secrecy ensured that the K, the life force of the economy, persisted, undisturbed by human frailties, fostering a dreamy equilibrium where money flowed like the river itself, eternal and renewing, hidden rooms serving as the silent heartbeats of an empire that revered the unseen as much as the visible, with traps and curses inscribed on walls to deter intruders, yet inviting trusted scribes to enter in meditative silence, their reed pens scratching softly on scrolls, preserving the balance of Mat. In the vast expanses of the Persian Empire, the idea of hidden rooms manifested in the Apadala's grand audience halls of Persepolis, perched on terraced plateaus where winds whispered through cedar beams imported from Lebanon, their resinous scent permeating the air, but delving into subterranean treasuries guarded by immortal warriors whose armor gleamed faintly in torchlight, the rooms conceived as bastions against nomadic incursions, with doors of bronze that swung on hinges oiled with precious unguents, locking with a resonant thud that echoed like distant thunder. These spaces embodied the Achaemenid philosophy of imperial control, hiding derricks and tribute from satrapies to fund road networks and postal systems, allowing couriers to gallop across dusty plains without fear of banditry repayments coming in the form of spices or silks. where the secrecy was a strategic veil, protecting the king's divinity and the empire's cohesion, much like how a wise ruler conceals strategies in council, revealing them at opportune moments, turning hidden wealth into the sinews of power, all designed with labyrinthine passages that confused would-be thieves there. Twists and turns a metaphorical journey through the mind's enigmas, lulling the guardians, eunuchs, and scribes into a routine of serene watchfulness, their vigil accompanied by the soft strum of lutes in adjacent chambers, blending security with cultural refinement. Consider, too, the ancient Indian viharas, monastic complexes, where Buddhist and Jain bankers ideated hidden rooms as stupa vaults, dome-shaped structures rising serenely amid banyan groves whose leaves rustled in monsoon breezes, scented with jasmine and sandalwood paste applied to stone idols. The underground chambers accessed via trapdoors concealed under prayer mats that lifted with a faint whoosh of air, storing punch-marked karshapanas in terracotta urns buried for safety. The concept drew from dharmic principles of non-attachment, yet prudent stewardship, hiding wealth to prevent attachment's corruptions, allowing guild loans for caravan trades along the Silk Road, repaid with gems or textiles, where secrecy fostered ethical commerce, shielding against royal exactions or bandit raids, turning the hidden into a path of enlightenment, where merchants meditated in these rooms before transactions, their breaths aligning with the rhythmic chant of mantras, ensuring that money's flow remained pure and untroubled. Like a lotus rising from mud, the room's dim light from butter lamps, casting golden flickers on walls inscribed with sutras inviting a dreamy introspection on wealth's transient nature. In China's ancient capitals, the idea took form in imperial treasuries beneath forbidden cities, their vermilion walls enclosing courtyards where cherry blossoms fell softly like pink snow. The hidden rooms burrowed into earthen mounds reinforced with rammed soil, accessed through sliding panels of lacquered wood that glided silently, scented with camphor to ward off insects. Drawing from Confucian ideals of harmony and order, these spaces concealed strings of cash coins and silk bolts, loaned to scholars for academies or farmers for plows, repaid through bureaucratic tributes, where secrecy maintained the mandate of heaven, protecting against rebellions or nomadic invasions, turning hidden reserves into the empire's stabilizing force, much like the unseen roots of a bamboo grove, with guardians performing Tai Chi in adjacent gardens, their movements fluid and calming, blending vigilance with philosophical poise, the room's air heavy with the aroma of brewing tea, lulling all to a state of balanced repose. Throughout these civilizations, the idea of hidden rooms was a universal response to wealth's fragility. Conceived as architectural poetry, false ceilings in Greek temples dropping to reveal compartments, Egyptian false burials misleading robbers, Roman puzzle locks requiring cunning keys, each innovation a testament to human ingenuity, ensuring that banking endured as a dreamy undercurrent of society, where money's secrets, once hidden, empowered rather than enslaved, fostering trust's gentle bloom. As we reflect on this, dear listener, let the idea's serenity wash over you like a warm wave, preparing for the vaults that await in unhurried grace. Chapter 4. The Vault of Gold. In the soft continuum of our ancient corridor, where the idea of hidden rooms lingers like a faint mist, curling around the edges of your thoughts, dear listener, let us now gently descend a set of time-worn stone steps, each one cool and slightly uneven underfoot, leading us deeper into the earth's embrace, toward the heart of secrecy itself, the vault of gold, a chamber conceived in the quiet ingenuity of antiquity, where the earth's treasures were not merely stored but enshrined in gleaming splendor, their radiant allure tempered by the serene veil of concealment, allowing wealth to slumber undisturbed amid the whispers of history's unhurried breath. Imagine the air growing cooler as we descend, scented with the subtle metallic tang of polished ore and the faint, earthy dampness of underground stone, the steps echoing softly with each imagined footfall, like distant rain pattering on a forest canopy, drawing you into a realm where gold, that eternal symbol of sun-kissed fortune, lay piled in chests of cedar and iron, their surfaces etched with protective runes that catch the dim light from flickering torches mounted in sconces, casting warm, golden reflections that dance lazily across the vaulted ceiling, evoking the dreamy opulence of civilizations that revered this metal as a gift from the gods, hidden to preserve its power for loans that built empires and sustained trades across vast, windswept deserts and shimmering seas. Dear listener, surrender to this descent's tranquil rhythm, your own breaths aligning with the gentle rise and fall of imagined lantern flames. As we enter the vault proper, its massive door forged of bronze, reinforced with bands of iron that gleam dully in the low light swinging, open with a low resonant groan, like the sigh of an ancient guardian awakening from centuries of repose, revealing an expanse of chamber hewn from living rock, its walls smoothed by the patient chisels of long-forgotten artisans, adorned with faint carvings of solar discs and coiled serpents, symbols of eternal vigilance, where the scent of aged wood from stacked chests mingles with the clean, crisp aroma of gold itself, untouched by time's corrosion. Here in the vaults of Mesopotamian temples, priests would amass talents of gold ingots shaped like boats or rings, their surfaces smooth and heavy to the touch, stacked in orderly rows within boxes lined with felt to muffle any betraying clink hidden from the floods of the Euphrates or the raids of Elamite warriors, allowing kings like Hammurabi to lend these treasures for caravan expeditions laden with lapis lazuli and tin, repaid with interest in spices or textiles, the vault's secrecy ensuring that wealth circulated like the river's life-giving waters, fostering prosperity without the disruption of loss, much like how a hidden spring nourishes a verdant oasis in the arid heart of the desert, its golden hoard a dreamy reservoir of potential, lulling the temple's stewards into a state of reverent calm as they tallied inventories by the light of oil lamps whose wicks burned steadily, casting elongated shadows that played across the chests like gentle waves on a moonlit shore. Feel the cool stone floor beneath your feet, solid and reassuring as we wander among these chests in an Egyptian vault beneath the temple of Amun at Karnak, where the air hangs heavy with the perfume of myrrh incense wafting from golden censers, their smoke curling lazily upward to veil the piles of Theban rings and statuettes of Horus crafted from purest electrum, gleaming with a soft, otherworldly luster under the flicker of reed torches dipped in tallow. the flames popping softly like distant fireworks in the night. These hidden vaults, accessed through trapdoors, concealed beneath altar stones that lifted with a faint grinding of sand, safeguarded the pharaoh's gold extracted from Nubian mines, where slaves toiled in torchlit tunnels, scented with sweat and dust. The metal formed into bars, stamped with cartouches of divine names, stored here to fund monumental obelisks or Nile barges, loaned to viziers for agricultural expansions, repaid through granary tributes of emmer wheat. The secrecy a sacred barrier against tomb robbers, whose whispers might echo in the outer halls, turning the vault into a sanctuary of eternal wealth, where scribes in linen garments would enter in meditative silence, their papyrus scrolls unrolling with a soft rustle to record withdrawals, the quills scratch a rhythmic lullaby that harmonized with the distant chants of priests evoking the Nile's gentle flow, where gold's hidden presence ensured the kingdom's heartbeat remained steady without the arrhythmias of theft or turmoil, inviting a dreamy reflection on how such vaults mirrored the underworld's treasures, promising abundance in life as in the afterlife. As the torchlight wavers, casting golden flecks that sparkle like stars fall into earth, envision the Greek vaults within the Temple of Volve. Apollo at Delphi, perched on misty mountain slopes where the air carries the fresh scent of pine resin and wild thyme. The chamber burrowed into the hillside, its entrance masked by a false oracle's pedestal that pivoted silently on hidden hinges, revealing shelves lined with amphorae filled with golden staters coined in the image of gods, their edges milled to prevent clipping. Stacked alongside ingots from Lydian mines, the metal's weight a tactile promise of value, cool and substantial in the palm. These hidden rooms I deeded to protect against Persian invasions or Spartan greed, allowed priest bankers to extend loans for olive grove expansions or trireme. Constructions repaid with vintages of wine or bolts of dyed wool, the secrecy fostering oracular trust where pilgrims deposited offerings in quiet awe. The vault's dim interior lit by bronze lamps whose light reflected off walls painted with murals of Helios driving his chariot, the golden chariot wheels seeming to spin in the flickering glow, lulling guardians into a state of prophetic serenity, their vigils accompanied by the soft strum of lyres from the temple above, blending the mundane safeguarding of gold with the mystical, turning the vault into a dreamy nexus where mortal wealth touched divine favor, ensuring that Athens' golden age shone brightly, unmarred by the shadows of loss. Drift further now, dear listener, into the Roman vaults beneath the Basilica Aemilia, in the Forum, where the bustling sounds of the city above merchants, haggling over garum jars and silk from the east fade to a muffled hum the air below, cool and laced with the faint briny scent of the Tiber seeping through cracks, the chamber reinforced with vaulted arches of tufa stone that curve gracefully overhead, supporting the weight of empire. Here, chests of oak bound with iron straps hold aureae stamped with emperors' profiles, their golden surfaces smooth and inviting to the touch, piled alongside bars from Iberian mines, guarded by locks of intricate tumblers that click softly when turned with keys of bronze shaped like eagles, the secrecy essential against barbarian incursions or senatorial plots allowing argenteri to lend for aqueducts spanning verdant countrysides, or legions marching on roads. Paved with basalt, repaid through provincial taxes in grain or wine, the vault's hidden nature, a testament to Roman engineering, with false floors concealing even deeper compartments, their lids lifting with a whisper of hinges, revealing nested hoards that symbolized layered security, much like the empire's stratified society, lulling the custodian's freedmen in tunics into routines of methodical counting. Coins clinking gently like pebbles in a stream, fostering an atmosphere of unhurried opulence, where gold's gleam promised perpetual fortune without the haste of exposure. In the opulent vaults of Persian treasuries at Susa, where palace gardens bloom with roses, whose petals release a heady fragrance that drifts even underground, the chambers are lined with glazed bricks depicting lions and archers in vivid blues and yellows, illuminated by hanging lamps of silver whose chains sway faintly, casting a warm glow on mounds of derricks and sigloi, golden coins pure as the sun, stacked in cedar boxes inlaid with ivory from Indian elephants. The air scented with saffron and ambergris, burned in small braziers to purify the space. These hidden rooms entered through doors, disguised as wall panels that slide with the smoothness of silk protected. The great king's hoard from Greek mercenaries or internal revolts, enabling loans for Sotrable. Infrastructures like the royal road repaid with tributes of spices or horses. The secrecy, a pillar of Achaemenid majesty, where eunuch guardians performed their duties in serene silence, their robes rustling softly as they weighed gold on balances that tipped with hypnotic grace, turning the vault into a dreamy sanctum of imperial continuity, evoking the Zoroastrian balance of light and shadow, gold's radiance a counterpoint to hidden depths, ensuring wealth's flow sustained the realm's harmony without discord. Across the Indian vaults in Mauryan stupas, amid groves where monkeys chatter faintly overhead, the chambers burrow into earth, fortified with brick, scented with camphor and lotus incense, holding karshapanas punched with symbols of wheels and elephants, their golden alloys shining under butter lamps that flicker like fireflies. Chests of teak safeguarding hoards for Ashoka's edicts, carved in stone across the land, loaned to guilds for silk trades repaid with gems from southern mines. The hidden essence rooted in ahimsa, protecting against invasions while promoting ethical wealth. A serene haven where monks meditated amid the gleam, breaths deep and even. In Chinese imperial vaults beneath Xi'an's walls, where dragon motifs coil on lacquered doors that open with a soft glide, the air carries jasmine, and the clink of gold tails shaped as boats. Stacked in silk-lined boxes, hidden to fund the Great Wall, repaid through tea, tributes the dreamy security, blending Confucian order with hidden splendor. These vaults of gold, dear listener, embody antiquity's quiet wisdom, their hidden gleam a beacon of enduring fortune, lulling us toward the chambers that follow in peaceful succession. Chapter 5. The Chamber of Contracts. In the golden afterglow of the vault's radiant hoard, where the gleam of hidden treasures fades into a soft lingering warmth that permeates the subterranean air like the last rays of a setting sun, dear listener, let us now glide seamlessly along a narrow passage, branching from the main corridor, its walls narrowing gently, as if embracing us in a stone cocoon, leading to another sanctum of secrecy, the Chamber of Contracts, a serene repository where the invisible bonds of promise and pact were etched onto scrolls and tablets, preserving the delicate threads of trust between kings and merchants, nobles and artisans, in an era when words bound in ink and wax held the power to forge empires or unravel fortunes, all shrouded in the dreamy veil of concealment to safeguard against betrayal's chill winds. Feel the passage's cool draft brushing your skin, carrying faint whispers of aged parchment and dried herbs. As the floor levels into a chamber hewn with meticulous care, its arched ceiling low and intimate, supported by pillars carved like intertwined vines symbolizing unbreakable alliances, illuminated by the soft flicker of tallow candles in niches, their flames dancing lazily and casting elongated shadows that play across shelves lined with rolled papyrus. Clay tablets and vellum sheets each document a silent testament to ancient agreements, scented with the subtle aroma of myrrh and beeswax seals that have mellowed over centuries, inviting you into a world where contracts were not mere formalities, but sacred covenants, hidden to nurture the quiet flow of credit and commerce without the disruptions of forgery or feud. Dear listener, allow this chamber's hushed ambience to envelop you like a warm shawl on a twilight evening, your breaths deepening in harmony with the faint rustle of imagined scrolls unrolling under gentle fingers, as we explore its origins in the cradle of Mesopotamian ziggurats, were scribes in reed-woven chambers. Beneath temple complexes would inscribe loan agreements on clay tablets damp from the Euphrates mist, their surfaces yielding softly to styluses that scratched cuneiform odes, promises of barley repayments or silver interest. Between Sumerian kings like Ur-Nammu and caravan merchants trading in lapis from distant Afghanistan, the tablets baked to hardness in kilns, whose heat left a faint, smoky residue, then sealed in envelopes of clay, stamped with cylinder seals rolling smoothly, like waves on a calm river, depicting scenes of gods witnessing the pacts. These hidden rooms, accessed through false walls that slid with a muted grind of sand, protected contracts from the floods or Akkadian invasions, ensuring that debts honored built trust's foundation, much like roots hidden in soil sustaining towering palms. The air within, scented with tamarisk incense, burned in small bowls to invoke Enlil's favor, lulling the archivists, bearded priests in fringed robes, into meditative routines of cataloging, their quills dipping into inkpots with rhythmic plops, turning ephemeral words into enduring bonds that circulated wealth through generations, fostering a dreamy stability where kings borrowed for canal digs, repaid with grain tributes, without the shadows of dispute clouding the horizon. As the candlelight wavers, casting golden flecks on the shelves like scattered stardust, envision the Egyptian chambers beneath the pyramid's shadows, where the Nile's rhythmic floods mirrored the ebb and flow of contractual obligations. The room burrowed into limestone bedrock, its entrance concealed by a pivoting sarcophagus lid that lifted with a faint whoosh of displaced air, revealing walls lined with niches holding papyrus scrolls rolled tightly around wooden rods, their fibers scented with lotus oil to preserve against decay, inscribed with hieroglyphs detailing covenants between pharaohs like Ramses and Hittite traders for cedar wood from Lebanon, loans of gold debon for tomb constructions, repaid through incense from Punt, sealed with cartouches pressed into warm wax that cooled to a smooth, glossy finish. These hidden sanctuaries, guarded by spells invoking Anubis's protection, shielded documents from sandstorms or tomb robbers prying tools, allowing viziers to reference pacts in dim light from sesame oil lamps flickering steadily, their flames reflecting off inlaid faience tiles depicting scales of justice, evoking Matt's balance, with a scratch of reed pens on papyrus created a soothing cadence, like reeds swaying in the delta breeze, turning contracts into the lifeblood of dynasty, hidden to prevent erasure by rivals, fostering an eternal cycle of trust where merchants borrowed for barge fleets, repaying with ivory tusks. The chambers cool embrace a dreamy haven of perpetuity, where words bound souls as firmly as the Nile bound the land. Drift deeper now, dear listener, into the Greek chambers within the Acropolises, perched on olive-strewn hills where the Mediterranean breeze carried scents of salt and wild, oregano through narrow vents high in the walls. The room accessed via a secret stair behind an altar to Athena, its steps worn smooth by sandaled feet, opening to a space with stone benches and shelves of wax tablets bound in leather, their surfaces etched with stylus marks, outlining agreements between tyrants like Pisistratus and Phoenician merchants for purple dye trades, loans of drachmas for symposium halls, repaid with Attic pottery exports, sealed with impressions of owls in soft clay that hardened like baked earth. These hidden alcoves, designed to evade Persian spies or democratic upheavals, preserved the oratory of trust in an age of philosophy, lit by olive oil lamps, whose light danced on friezes of handshake motifs, symbolizing pistis faith lulling scribes and chitons to inscribe with deliberate care, the tablets faint scraping a rhythmic lullaby, harmonizing with distant lyre strains from the agora, turning contracts into pillars of polis economy, where secrecy ensured that debts fostered alliances without envy's poison, much like hidden springs quenching thirsty travelers, allowing kings to pledge trove for naval armadas, repaid in silphium herbs, the chamber a serene nexus of intellect and commerce, dreamy in its assurance that written words outlasted spoken vows. Feel the vellum's subtle texture under your fingertips, smooth yet resilient as we enter. Roman chambers beneath the forum's basilicas, where the hum of imperial life above filtered as a distant murmur, the room reinforced with concrete vaults, arching gracefully, entered through a mosaic floor tile that depressed with a soft click, revealing ladders descending to tables laden with codices of vellum sheets stitched with sinew, inscribed in Latin script with quills that dipped into iron gall ink, leaving a faint, acrid scent, detailing pacts between emperors like Augustus and silk merchants from the east, loans of aurii for road pavements repaid through spice tariffs, sealed with signet rings pressed into red wax that dripped slowly from candles, cooling to embossed emblems of eagles. These hidden scriptoria, shielded from Germanic raids or senatorial intrigues, embodied the most Maiorum of ancestral custom, illuminated by lucerne lamps casting steady glows on walls, frescoed with scenes of handshakes under Jupiter's gaze, the quills scratching a gentle undercurrent to the archivist's murmured recitations, fostering a republic of paper where contracts circulated wealth like aqueduct waters, hidden to prevent forgery's blight, turning ephemeral deals into eternal ledgers, dreamy in their promise of stability as merchants borrowed for villa expansions, repaying with vintage wines, the chamber a tranquil archive where laws whisper outvoiced chaos. In Persian chambers at Persepolis, amid plateau winds scented with pistachio blooms, the rooms burrowed into rock cliffs, accessed by doors mimicking relief carvings that swung on silent pivots. Holding Aramaic parchments rolled in ivory tubes, their inks faded, but legible chronicling covenants between Darius and India. Rajas for elephant ivory, loans of derricks for aqueducts, repaid with cotton bales, sealed with fire-hardened clay, stamped with royal for Vashi symbols. Hidden from Alexander's torches, these spaces evoked a Hora Mazda's light, lit by silver lamps swaying. Chapter 6. The Merchant's Visit. In the parchment-scented hush of the Chamber of Contracts, where the echoes of ancient oaths still linger like faint breaths. On a still pond, dear listener, let us now accompany a solitary figure, a humble yet ambitious. Merchant on his inaugural journey into these veiled sanctums, his heart aflutter with a mix of reverence and quiet trepidation as he crosses the threshold for the first time, the weight of history pressing gently upon him like a feather-light mist, transforming what was once mere rumor into a tangible realm of shadowed wonders, where the hidden runes of ancient banks reveal their secrets not in thunderous revelation, but in the serene whisper of awestruck silence. Imagine him, this merchant named Callias, in our dreamy tale, clad in a simple woolen chiton draped over his shoulders, its fibers soft against his skin, his sandals padding softly on the cool stone floor as he follows a hooded guide through a dimly lit antechamber, the air thick with the subtle aroma of olive oil from lamps flickering in brass holders, their flames casting elongated shadows that dance lazily along walls, etched with faint glyphs of keys and scales, symbols of trust and measure, drawing him deeper into the heart of a Greek temple bank at Delphi, where the mountain mists outside swirl like ethereal veils, and the distant call of an eagle pierces the twilight, heightening his sense of entering a world apart, one where money's mysteries unfold without haste, lulling his senses into a state of profound, silent wonder. Dear listener, let this merchant's tentative steps mirror your own relaxation, each footfall a gentle invitation to sink deeper into the narrative's embrace, your breaths slowing to match his measured pace. As Callias pauses at a concealed door, its surface disguised as a marble relief of Hermes, god of commerce, a guide pressing a hidden lever that causes the panel to pivot smoothly with a faint sigh of hinges, revealing a descending staircase carved from the living rock, its steps worn smooth by countless predecessors, cool and slightly damp underfoot, scented with the earthy tang of underground springs seeping through cracks. As he descends, the air grows cooler, carrying hints of aged wood and metallic ore, his heart pounding softly like a distant drum, not in fear, but in awe of the privilege bestowed upon him, a modest trader of olive oil from the groves of Attica, now invited to deposit his earnings and perhaps secure a loan for a larger vessel to ply the Aegean trades, the silence enveloping him like a warm cloak broken only by the drip of condensation from the ceiling. each drop a rhythmic lullaby that eases his initial nervousness into a dreamy reverence, where the hidden rooms below promise not just security, but a communion with the divine mechanisms of wealth, turning his first visit into a rite of passage, silent and profound, as the guide whispers instructions in a voice as soft as rustling leaves, guiding him without intrusion into the vault's welcoming dimness. Feel the stone walls closing in gently, their texture rough yet reassuring under Callias's fingertips as he brushes them for balance. Emerging into the vault of gold we glimpsed earlier, but now through his wide-eyed gaze, a chamber unfolding like a golden dreamscape, chests of cedar lined in rows, their lids ajar to reveal ingots and staters gleaming with a soft inner light under the flicker of torches mounted on iron stands, the flames popping faintly like embers in a hearth, casting reflections that shimmer across the metal like sunlight on calm waves, the scent of polished gold mingling with faint incense from a small altar to Tyche, goddess of fortune, where offerings of myrrh burn slowly in a bowl, their smoke curling upward in lazy spirals. Callias stands transfixed, his breath catching in silent awe, the sheer volume of hidden wealth piles of coins, stamped with owls and laurels, each one cool and heavy if he dared touch, overwhelming him with a sense of humility, realizing that his modest pouch of drachmas at his belt is but a droplet in this subterranean ocean, yet welcomed here in the temple's egalitarian embrace, where priests in white robes move with unhurried grace, their sandals whispering on the floor as they weigh deposits on balances that tip with hypnotic precision, the clink of metal a muted symphony that lulls rather than startles, inviting Callias to step forward, his voice hushed to a reverent murmur as he presents his earnings, the silence amplifying his inner thoughts of gratitude and ambition, dreaming of how this hidden sanctum will transform his small trades into prosperous ventures, without the clamor of the agra above. As the guide leads him further, through a narrow archway veiled by a hanging tapestry, woven with threads of gold and purple, depicting scenes of ancient pacts, its fabric yielding softly to the touch, Callias enters the chamber of contracts, his eyes widening in silent wonder at the shelves upon shelves of wax tablets and papyrus scrolls, stacked like sentinels in the dim glow of clay lamps whose wicks burn steadily, casting a warm amber hue across the room. The air scented with the dry, papery aroma of preserved documents and the faint spice of sealing wax melted in small crucibles over braziers, their heat a gentle warmth against the underground chill. Here, in this serene archive, Callias feels the weight of history's gaze, each scroll a silent witness to covenants older than his lineage loans for triremes that sailed to victory at Salamis, or trades that brought spices from distant Arabia, his awe manifesting as a profound stillness, not daring to speak lest he shatter the chamber's tranquility, watching as a scribe, elderly and bent with wisdom, unrolls a fresh scroll with deliberate care, the papyrus crackling faintly like autumn leaves underfoot, inscribing the terms of Callias's deposit and proposed loan in elegant script, the stylus scratching rhythmically, a soothing counterpoint to the merchant's racing thoughts, where silence reigns supreme, allowing him to absorb the room's essence, the hidden knowledge that these pacts, once sealed with a drop of wax impressed by his thumb, will bind him to the temple's trust, fostering growth in his endeavors without the external world's chaos. A dreamy initiation where all silences doubt, and the chamber's quiet power reassures him that fortune favors the discreet. Drift with Callias now, dear listener, as his visit extends to similar hidden rooms in other ancient realms, imagining him transposed to a Mesopotamian ziggurat, where under the starry Mesopotamian sky, he approaches a mud brick entrance masked by a reed mat that parts like a curtain in the wind, descending into a vault lit by flickering oil lamps hanging from chains, their light revealing clay tablets stacked on shelves of baked earth, the air heavy with the scent of river clay and tamarisk smoke from a censer. His awe renewed in silence as priests in fringed garments present him with a tablet to inscribe his name, using a stylus that presses into the soft clay with a satisfying yield, detailing a loan for a caravan to fetch lapis from the east. The room's profound quiet broken only by the faint scratch and the guide's whispered explanations, lulling Callias into a state of reverent contemplation, the hidden space's antiquity pressing upon him like the weight of the ziggurat above, turning his first entry into a silent communion with gods like Shamash, who oversaw justice in contracts, ensuring his trade would flourish without betrayal's sting. In an Egyptian temple on the Nile, where palm fronds rustle faintly outside, Callias now, as a fictional variant, enters through a pylon door that grinds open on sand-lubricated hinges, descending to a chamber of limestone walls painted with hieroglyphs glowing under torchlight, the scent of lotus incense and beeswax enveloping him, his silence deepened by awe at the papyrus stacks and niches, each scroll a portal to pharaonic decrees, as scribes in kilts unroll one for his loan agreement, the reed pen dipping into ink with a soft plop, inscribing terms for borrowing gold to fund a barge laden with grain, the room's hush amplified by the distant Nile's murmur filtering through vents, fostering a dreamy reverence where Callias feels the god's presence, silent and watchful, his first visit a transformative hush that binds him to the eternal flow of the river's wealth. Across to Rome, in a basilica's undercroft, accessed by a mosaic trapdoor lifting with a click, the air cool with Tiber scents, Callias marvels at vellum codices on lecterns, lit by lucernæ, his awe silent as argentary, inscribed packs with quills scratching smoothly, sealing with wax under eagle stamps, the hidden room's solemnity turning his loan for villa expansions into a pact of imperial stability, lulling him into peaceful ambition. In Persian halls, behind relief panels sliding aside, scented with rose adder, gold derricks gleam under silver lamps. Callias's silence profound amid Aramaic parchments, his first entry a hushed awe of imperial grandeur. Indian stupas yield palm leaves and sandalwood-scented rooms. Chinese palaces' bamboo slips under lantern glow. Each visit a silent tapestry of wonder, weaving Callias's story into antiquity's dreamy fabric. These merchants' visits, dear listener, capture the awe of first encounters, their silence the key to hidden fortunes, guiding us toward the whispers that follow in serene unfolding. Chapter 7. The Whisper of Secrets. In the lingering awe of the merchant's silent initiation, where the hidden room's revelations still echo softly in the recesses of his mind, like faint echoes in a vast cavern, dear listener, Let us now attune our senses to the subtler undercurrents that permeated these ancient sanctums, the whisper of secrets, those elusive murmurs and half-heard rumors that swirled around the concealed dealings and veiled fortunes within the banks. Shadowy depths, not as alarming scandals, but as gentle breezes carrying tales of intrigue, fostering a dreamy mystique that enhanced, rather than disrupted, the serene flow of wealth, where whispers of clandestine pacts between shadowy figures or forgotten troves added layers of enigma to the stone walls, inviting speculation without shattering the tranquility. Imagine the air in these corridors growing thicker with unspoken lore, scented with the faint lingering traces of whispered conversations, hints of sandalwood incense and aged vellum, as rumors flitted like nocturnal moths around the flames of truth, tales of secret alliances forged in midnight hours hidden, fortunes amassed beyond the gaze of kings or commoners, all preserved in the hidden room's embrace, where such whispers served not to unsettle, but to underscore the profound trust required for money as quiet circulation, lulling those who heard them into a state of contemplative wonder, much like how a soft wind through olive groves carries distant songs, evoking curiosity without urgency in the peaceful night. Dear listener, allow these whispers to caress your thoughts like a gentle zephyr on a starlit evening, your breaths easing into their rhythmic cadence. As we delve into the Mesopotamian ziggurats, where under the veil of starry skies, dotted with constellations like scattered jewels, rumors circulated among caravanserai traders of secret deals sealed in subterranean vaults, tales of kings like Sargon whispering pacts with Assyrian merchants for hidden stockpiles of gold ingots, smuggled from Anatolian mines buried deeper than the standard hoards to evade, Babylonian tax collectors, the whispers spreading through date palm groves scented with ripening fruit, hinting at fortunes in lapis lazuli chests, forgotten in false chambers accessed only by priests who knew the incantations to shift, sand-filled panels that ground softly aside, revealing compartments where clay tablets, detailed covert loans for spice roots, repaid in shadows with unmarked silver, the secrecy fueling myths of divine interventions, or gods like. Marduk allegedly multiplied the gold overnight, lulling the populace into a dreamy acceptance of the temples. Enigmatic power where such rumors passed in hushed tones by firelight in reed huts, enhanced the bank's allure without inciting greed, turning whispers into the invisible currency that bound communities in intrigued silence, ensuring that hidden wealth whispered promises of prosperity to those wise enough to listen without prying. As the whispers grow fainter, yet more insistent, like leaves rustling in a midnight orchard, envision the Egyptian temples along the Nile's silvery bends, where moonlit waters lapped rhythmically against papyrus reeds, carrying rumors among fellahin farmers of pharaonic secrets, hidden in pyramid substructures tales of Ramses II, forging clandestine alliances with Nubian chieftains in chambers veiled by false burial shafts that descended, with a faint echo of footsteps concealing troves of emerald amulets and golden shabdus rumored to be enchanted against theft. The air within scented with natron salts and lotus blooms preserved in jars. Whispers spreading through village markets of forgotten fortunes in canoped chests, left by forgetful viziers, and rediscovered only in dreams interpreted by seers. where secret dealings involved loans of Deben for illicit tomb expansions, repaid with smuggled myrrh under the cover of festivals, the mystique amplified by stories of curses that silenced looters, lulling the people into a serene reverence for the hidden rune's guardianship, much like the Nile's floods that concealed and revealed treasures annually, fostering a cultural tapestry where rumors wove threads of caution and wonder without disturbing the kingdom's harmonious flow, inviting scribes to inscribe protective spells on walls that glowed faintly under torchlight, turning whispers into guardians more potent than any lock. Drift with these murmurs now, dear listener, into the Greek acropolises, perched on craggy heights where sea breezes carried the salty town of the Aegean, whispering through olive branches. Tales among symposium revelers of Delphic oracles, hiding fortunes in rooms beneath the sacred tripod. Rumors of tyrants like Polycrates, secreting away pirate spoils, chests of Lydian electrum coins, in compartments masked by prophetic veils that parted with a soft flutter, a sense of wild thyme and beeswax mingling in the dim air, stories circulating in agoras of secret pacts with Persian spies for loans, funding covert naval builds, repaid in shadowed transfers of amber and ivory, whispers hinting at lost maps, etched on wax tablets, leading to buried talents forgotten since the Trojan War, evoking a dreamy intrigue that enhanced the temple's mystique without inciting unrest, where philosophers like Plato pondered these secrets in dialogues by lamplight, their voices low and measured, turning rumors into philosophical enigmas that lulled the polis into contemplative trust, ensuring that the hidden rune's whispers circulated like the winds of fate, binding merchants in silent oaths of discretion, much like how myths of hidden labyrinths protected treasures from minotaurs of greed. Feel the whispers weaving through the air, subtle and enveloping, as we enter Roman forums, where the Tiber's gentle flow mirrored the undercurrents of intrigue. Rumors buzzing among plebeians in bathhouses scented with olive oil and steam. Tales of emperors like Nero concealing fortunes in basilica crypts behind false aqueduct walls that trickled water to mask entries. Hiding aureae stamped with forbidden images in vaults, rumored to connect to catacombs. The air heavy with the aroma of garum and incense from nearby temples. Whispers of secret dealings with Parthian traders for silk monopolies. Loans extended in midnight audiences repaid with unmarked gems. Stories of forgotten hoards from Caesar's Gallic spoils. Buried and lost to time, but alive in lore passed by storytellers under starlit porticos, lulling the empire into a state of intrigued stability, where such murmurs reinforced the law's veil, turning hidden secrets into the mortar of societal bonds, without the discord of revelation, inviting senators to ponder in hushed councils, their togas rustling softly, fostering a dreamy acceptance that wealth's whispers were the true guardians of Rome's enduring legacy. In the vast Persian palaces at Persepolis, where plateau winds sighed through cedar halls, scented with rose attar and saffron, whispers echoed among courtiers in silk robes. Tales of Darius, hiding tribute fortunes in cliffside chambers, accessed by ropes that swayed gently in the breeze. Concealing derricks in ivory inlaid boxes, rumored to be blessed by Zoroastrian fires. Stories spreading through royal banquets of secret pacts with Scythian nomads for horse trades. loans repaid in shadowed caravans with unmarked lapis, whispers of lost treasuries from Xerxes' Greek campaigns, forgotten in labyrinthine tunnels where echoes mimicked ghostly voices, lulling the empire into a serene mystique that balanced light and shadow, much like Ahura Mazda's teachings, turning rumors into veils that protected without alarming, ensuring the hidden room's allure persisted in peaceful harmony. Indian monastic complexes under monsoon skies, where rain pattered softly on banana leaves scented with cardamom, harbored whispers among pilgrims of Mauryan kings secreting spice fortunes in stupa vaults behind mantra walls that resonated with chanted Om. Rumors of punch-marked coins and terracotta urns enchanted against thieves. Tales of covert deals with Hellenistic traders for pearl loans, repaid in elephant ivory under eclipse nights. Whispers of forgotten Vedic chords, alive in sutra recitations that lulled ascetics into meditative wonder, fostering dharmic balance. Chinese forbidden cities, amid bamboo groves rustling with faint winds scented with jasmine tea, concealed whispers. Chapter 8. The Hidden Guardians. In the ethereal veil of whispered secrets, where rumors fade into the gentle hum of antiquity's untold tales, like distant echoes dissolving into a tranquil sea. Dear listener, let us now turn our gaze to the silent sentinels who stood watch over these hidden rooms, the hidden guardians, those devoted souls whose lives were woven into the very fabric of the bank's shadowy sanctums. Not as fierce warriors clad in armor, but as quiet stewards blending vigilance with contemplative existence. Their days and nights a harmonious rhythm of duty and reflection, ensuring that the treasures of gold and contracts slumbered undisturbed in the cool embrace of stone, fostering a dreamy security that allowed wealth to flow without interruption. Imagine them, these guardians, moving through the dimly lit corridors with steps as soft as falling petals. Their presence is a reassuring constant amid the underground hush, scented with the faint aromas of herbal infusions and flickering lamp oils. There lives a tapestry of serene routines, meditative watches, ritual cleansings, and whispered incantations dedicated to the preservation of secrets, where guardianship was less about confrontation and more about the peaceful harmony of unwavering presence, lulling the hidden rooms into an eternal state of protected repose, much like how ancient trees stand sentinel over forest glades, their branches swaying gently in the breeze without a sound. Dear listener, allow the essence of these guardians to envelop your thoughts like a soft mist rolling over moonlit meadows, your breaths aligning with their unhurried rhythms, as we begin in the Mesopotamian ziggurats, where under the vast canopy of starry nights, twinkling like scattered lapis beads, the guardians were often temple acolytes, young men chosen from priestly families, their linen garments flowing loosely as they patrolled the subterranean vaults with reed torches that burned steadily, casting warm glows on mud brick walls etched with protective cuneiform wards, their lives a blend of devotion and discretion, rising at dawn to perform ablutions in Euphrates, waters scented with tamarisk leaves, then descending to the hidden rooms to dust clay tablets and oil iron locks with date palm resin, ensuring smooth, silent operation. They lived in modest cells adjacent to the vaults, furnished with woven mats and clay lamps, whose wicks flickered softly during evening vigils. sustenance drawn from temple offerings of barley bread and fig wine shared in communal silence. Their days punctuated by chants to Enki, the god of wisdom, whispered in rhythmic cadences that echoed faintly through the corridors, fostering a sense of divine companionship, where guardianship meant attuning to the room's subtle sounds, the drip of condensation or the sigh of settling stone turning, potential intrusions into mere figments dispelled by their serene watchfulness, lulling them into a dreamy existence where time blurred, nights spent in meditative trances, contemplating the stars visible through narrow shafts, ensuring the hidden treasures remained as eternal as the rivers that nourished the land. As the Guardians' quiet lives unfold in our imagination, feel their peaceful diligence seeping into your own relaxation, drifting now to the Egyptian temples along the Nile's verdant banks, where the Guardians were scribes and minor priests, often eunuchs dedicated to Horus, their shaven heads anointed with lotus oil that left a subtle, floral scent in the air, clad in pristine linen kilts that rustled softly as they navigated the hidden chambers by the light of sesame oil lamps hanging from chains, their flames popping gently like distant festival drums. They dwelled in austere quarters, carved into the temple's bedrock, sleeping on reed mats beside small altars adorned with ibis figurines, awakening to the dawn chorus of river birds, to perform rituals of purification with Nile water poured from alabaster ewers, then tending the vaults by polishing golden debon and inscribing fresh wards on papyrus amulets placed in niches their meals, simple dates bread and cucumber eaten in meditative silence under the watchful eyes of stone statues, lives structured around the inundation cycles, where guardianship involved listening to the Nile's murmurs filtering through vents, interpreting them as omens from Osiris, fostering a dreamy harmony with the afterlife's rhythms. Nights spent in vigilant repose, reciting hymns that blended with the soft lapping of waters outside, turning their existence into a serene bridge between mortal wealth and eternal guardianship, without the burden of worldly distractions, ensuring the hidden rooms breathed in quiet synchrony with the kingdom's enduring pulse. Envision their unassuming forms gliding through shadows as we journey to Greek temple banks at Delphi, nestled amid misty mountains where pine-scented breezes whispered through olive groves, the guardians being hieroduloi temple servants, selected for their piety, often philosophers in training, robed in wool hamations that draped comfortably, carrying olive wood staves, not for combat, but for steadying on uneven stone steps, their days beginning with ablutions in sacred springs, bubbling cool and clear, then entering the hidden rooms to arrange staters in chests and burn thyme incense in braziers, its aromatic smoke curling lazily to veil the air. They resided in Spartan cells with straw pallets and scrolls of Hesiod for contemplation. Meals of cheese, olives, and diluted wine shared in quiet discourse on virtue, their guardianship a philosophical pursuit, attuned to the oracle's distant echoes and the rustle of laurel leaves and vents, interpreting signs from Apollo in meditative states that lulled them into profound calm. Nights passed in rotational watches, stargazing through slits to ponder cosmic orders, turning vigilance into a dreamy extension of wisdom, where hidden treasures were safeguarded not by force, but by the aura of sanctity they embodied, fostering trust among depositors who sensed their serene devotion. Feel the guardian's tranquil vigilance as a soothing undercurrent, carrying us to Roman basilicas in the forum's heart, where amid the Tiber's gentle flow scented with rosemary from nearby gardens, the guardians were vigil's watchmen drawn from freed slaves, attired in practical tunics belted with leather, equipped with lanterns of horn that cast diffused light without glare, their lives regimented yet peaceful, starting with morning drills in courtyards to maintain alertness, then descending to vaults to inspect Ori stacks and lubricate puzzle locks with olive oil, ensuring silent precision. They lived in barracks adjoining the undercrofts, on wooden cots with wool blankets, dining on garum-seasoned porridge and fakes in communal halls where low conversations on stoic resilience fostered camaraderie. Guardianship involving patrols with soft-soled boots that muffled steps, listening to the city's distant hum as a lullaby. Nights spent in shifts, reading by candlelight or playing quiet games of dice, turning duty into a rhythmic existence that balanced Empire's demands with personal repose, dreamy in its assurance that hidden wealth slumbered under their watchful, unobtrusive gaze, evoking the most Mayarum of ancestral duty without the clamor of conflict. In Persian treasuries at Susa, where desert winds carried jasmine scents to latticed vents, guardians were immortals, elite wards in scaled vests worn lightly, living in palace annexes with silk cushions and low tables for tea, infused with cardamom. Their days of archery practice in gardens, yielding to vault duties, polishing derricks, and chanting Avestan hymns that echoed softly. Meals of rice and lamb shared in reflective silence. Nights in meditative watches under starlit skies, blending Zoroastrian light with serene vigilance. Indian stupa guardians, amid banyan shades scented with incense, were monastic wardens in saffron robes, residing in vihara cells with bamboo mats, awakening to chants and tending vaults with ghee. Chapter 9. The Room of Forgotten Coins in the serene vigil of the hidden guardians, where their watchful presences fade into the gentle rhythm of antiquity's breathing stone, like whispers dissolving into the hush of a twilight forest. Dear listener, let us now venture into a more forsaken corner of these subterranean sanctums, the Room of Forgotten Coins, those dimly lit alcoves where time itself seemed to pause, cradling the remnants of unclaimed fortunes and orphaned treasures, not as tragic losses, but as dreamy relics of human transience, coins scattered in dusty heaps or nestled in cracked urns, their once bright surfaces mellowed by the patina of ages, whispering tales of depositors long vanished into history's mists, fostering a melancholic yet peaceful reflection on wealth's impermanence, where such rooms served as quiet memorials to the forgotten, allowing the bank's hidden depths to hold on to echoes of lives past without disturbing the ongoing flow of commerce above. Imagine the air in these rooms growing stiller, heavier with the scent of aged metal and faint mildew from seeping moisture, the floor strewn with stray sesturiae or derricks that clink softly underfoot like fallen leaves in an autumn glade, each coin a silent storyteller of interrupted journeys merchants lost at sea kings, dethroned in distant wars, all preserved in the cool, unchanging embrace of the earth, lulling the occasional visitor into a state of contemplative repose, where forgotten wealth evoked not greed, but a dreamy humility, reminding all that fortunes, like dreams, may fade, but leave behind a gentle legacy of wonder. Dear listener, surrender to the poignant tranquility of these forgotten spaces, your breath slowing to match the unhurried decay of their treasures. As we begin in the Mesopotamian ziggurats, where under the relentless sun baking the mud brick towers, these rooms burrow deeper than the main vaults, accessed through narrow, sand-choked passages that wound like serpents, their entrances sealed by slabs that shifted with a faint grinding of grit, revealing chambers where forgotten shekels and mina weights lay in disarray on earthen shelves. Cracked by time, the air scented with the dry, chalky aroma of unbaked clay and the faint tang of oxidized copper from coins stamped with long-extinct royal seals, remnants of loans never reclaimed by Sumerian traders, swallowed by desert sands, or Akkadian conquests, their surfaces etched with cuneiform that blurred under layers of dust, like whispers half remembered in sleep. These spaces, tended sporadically by guardians, who swept with palm frond brooms rustling softly, held hordes from eras of flood or famine, where a priest might stumble upon a chest of silver rings abandoned since the days of Gilgamesh, evoking tales of epic quests unfinished, lulling the finder into a meditative trance as they polished a single coin with a cloth dampened in river water, its gleam emerging like a star through clouds, turning the room into a sanctuary of reflection where forgotten coins symbolized the ebb of empires, fostering a dreamy acceptance that wealth's true value lay in its stories, not possession, without the haste of reclamation, allowing the ziggurat's hidden heart to pulse with quiet nostalgia amid the Tigris's eternal flow. As the patina's subtle hues dance in our mind's eye, feel the cool dampness of the stone seeping into your awareness, drifting now to the Egyptian temples beside the Nile's languid curves, where these rooms nestled in forgotten annexes beneath pyramid bases, entered via trapdoors concealed under sand drifts that parted with a whisper of granules, unveiling alcoves where Deben rings and scarab amulets lay tumbled in alabaster jars cracked by seismic tremors, the air heavy with the musty scent of desiccated papyrus and the sweet decay of ancient natron salts. Coins from Ptolemaic eras mingled with older golden bits forgotten by merchants perished in crocodile-infested waters or nomad raids, their edges worn smooth by time's gentle erosion, like pebbles polished by the river's caress. Guardians, in their linen wraps, would visit these spaces during low Nile seasons, lighting reed torches that flared softly to reveal hoards unclaimed since the Hyksos invasions, evoking legends of Pharaoh's curses that bound the Sars. Gold to the underworld, lulling the observers into a state of reverent silence as they arranged the relics on stone ledges, the faint clink of metal harmonizing with distant ibis calls, turning the room into a dreamy tomb of fiscal afterlife, where forgotten coins mirrored the souls awaiting resurrection, fostering humility in the living, who pondered how such wealth, once vital for barge trades or tomb furnishings, now slumbered eternally, without the clamor of heirs, ensuring the temple's mystique endured in peaceful obscurity. Envision the scattered gleams like fireflies in dusk, as we ascend to Greek temple banks on windswept heights, where olive-scented breezes filtered through cracks into these overlooked chambers burrowed into hillside fissures, accessed by pulling aside laurel branch screens that rustled faintly, disclosing nooks where drachmas and obols lay heaped in amphorae, shattered by ancient quakes. The air laced with the earthy aroma of terracotta dust and the faint resin of pine torches burning low, coins bearing faded images of gods like Poseidon, forgotten by sailors lost in storms or philosophers exiled in political upheavals, their alloy surfaces greened with verdigris like moss on forgotten statues. Temple servants, pausing in their duties, would enter to catalog these relics by the light of olive lamps flickering steadily, stories surfacing of deposits from the Persian Wars, never retrieved, lulling them into philosophical musings on fortune's fickleness, as fingers traced the coin's engravings with a soft touch, turning the room into a haven of Socratic contemplation, where forgotten wealth prompted dialogues on transience, dreamy in its invitation to reflect without attachment, allowing the Acropolis to harbor these echoes of human frailty amid the eternal gaze of the Parthenon, without disturbing the polis's vibrant trades. Feel the weight of ages in each tarnished piece, carrying us to Roman basilicas amid the forum's marble expanse, where these rooms hid in sub-basement crevices behind false cistern walls that dripped with condensation, revealing when levers clicked softly open, interiors strewn with aureae and denarii in leather pouches rotted by time, the air thick with the briny scent of Tiber seepage and the metallic bite of corroded bronze, coins from legions disbanded or senators assassinated in civil strife, their profiles of emperors like Caligula effaced by centuries' neglect, like memories blurred in old age. Vigils, during quiet shifts, would explore these spaces with horn lanterns casting muted glows, uncovering hoards from Trajan's conquests unclaimed by distant heirs, evoking tales of imperial glory faded, lulling the guardians into stoic reveries as they stacked the coins in neat piles, the gentle clatter a rhythmic meditation on impermanence, turning the room into a subterranean archive of Rome's transient might, dreamy in its assurance that forgotten fortunes underscored the empire's enduring laws, without the disruption of rediscovery's greed, fostering a peaceful continuity in the city's bustling heart. In Persian palaces atop arid plateaus, where starlit skies arched vast overhead, these rooms delved into cliffside hollows behind tapestries that fluttered aside, holding derricks and ivory boxes splintered by time, scented with faded ambergris and dust from distant sands, forgotten by satraps fallen in Alexander's wake, guardians chanting softly as they sifted through, lulling into Zoroastrian reflections on light's victory over oblivion. Indian stupa alcoves under monsoon mists, scented with decaying petals, concealed behind vine-covered slabs, harbored punch-marked coins in urns buried shallowly. Remnants of traders vanished on silk routes, monks meditating amid the gleam, turning forgetfulness into karmic lessons of detachment, dreamy and serene. Chinese palace recesses amid bamboo whispers, scented with moldering silk behind warped. Screens contained tales and lacquer chests flaked with age, forgotten by envoys lost in steppe blizzard's guardians, practicing calligraphy by lantern light fostering harmonious acceptance of time's flow. These rooms of forgotten coins, dear listener, cradle antiquity's gentle melancholies, their silent treasures a lullaby of transience, guiding us toward the echo of ancient trades in peaceful reverie. Chapter 10. The Echo of Ancient Trades. In the melancholic hush of the room of forgotten coins, where the patina of time cloaks abandoned fortunes in a veil of gentle oblivion, like autumn leaves settling softly on a forest floor. Dear listener, let us now attune our ears to the faint resonances that still vibrate through these hidden chambers, the echo of ancient trades, those lingering vibrations of commerce long past, not as boisterous haggles and sunlit markets, but as subdued harmonies reverberating off stone walls, carrying the dreamy imprints of barters and bargains that once animated distant bazaars and caravan trails preserved in the banks, secretive depths as ethereal afterimages, fostering a serene continuity with the past's dealings, whispered encouragement to future endeavors without the clamor of present demands. Imagine these echoes as subtle hums, scented with the faded spices of cinnamon and myrrh that once filled merchant pouches, resonating through the corridors like the distant murmur of a seashell held to the ear. Tailies of silk exchanged for silver, grain for gold, all etched into the air itself, lulling the hidden rooms into a state of timeless reverie, where trades of yore blended seamlessly with the quiet anticipation of those yet to come, much like how a river's undercurrents carry sediments from ancient beds to nourish new shores, inviting a peaceful reflection on commerce's enduring symphony. Dear listener, allow these echoes to wash over you like a warm, languid wave on a sun-dappled shore, your breaths deepening in sync with their rhythmic undulations. As we commence in the Mesopotamian ziggurats, where the Tigris's lazy meanders mirrored the flow of ancient exchanges, these hidden rooms echoing with the spectral clatter of barter in bustling Uruk markets, visions of traders swapping barley sheaves for Babylonian textiles under date palm shades scented with ripening fruit, their agreements sealed in clay tablets stored below, the vibrations lingering as faint hums when guardians passed, evoking memories of caravans laden with tin from afar, lone silver repaid in indigo dyes, the air within the vaults still humming softly with the imagined haggling of Sumerian voices, rhythmic and melodious like reed flutes played at festivals, turning the echoes into a dreamy archive of economic vitality, where priests, in their fringed robes, would pause to listen during quiet hours, the resonances fostering inspiration for new loans funding irrigation canals, without the disruption of forgotten disputes, ensuring that the ziggurat's hidden heart pulsed with the eternal rhythm of trade, blending past echoes with the promise of prosperous harvests under the unblinking Mesopotamian sun. As the echoes swell and recede like a distant chorus, feel their subtle vibrations tingling through your thoughts. Drifting now to the Egyptian temples along the Nile's fertile banks, where papyrus reeds swayed in breezes, carrying the sweet scent of blooming lotuses, these chambers resonating with the spectral barters of Theban merchants, exchanging linen bolts for Lebanese cedar in shaded colonnades, their packs inscribed on scrolls that rustled faintly in storage niches, the echoes manifesting as soft susurrations when wind filtered through vents, evoking the haggling over ebony from Punt or incense from Arabia. Loans of grain Devon repaid in ostrich feathers during inundation feasts the air heavy with the lingering aroma of spiced unguents from traded. Jars turning the hidden rooms into a harmonious vault of commercial legacies, or scribes dipping reeds in ink with measured strokes, would attune to these vibrations in meditative silence, the dreamy resonances inspiring fresh covenants for barge fleets navigating the river's bends without the weight of bygone rivalries, fostering a serene continuity that mirrored the Nile's annual renewal, ensuring the kingdom's wealth flowed eternally like the sacred waters themselves, in peaceful, unending cycles. Envision the echoes as invisible threads weaving through the stone, carrying us to Greek acropolises on azure-coasted hills, where the tang of sea salt mingled with olive blossoms in the air. These alcoves echoing with the lively debates of Athenian agri-traders, bartering amphorae of wine for Cretan pottery under plane tree canopies, their deals noted on wax tablets, stacked in the dim glow of lamps, the resonances humming gently, like the strum of unseen lyres when breezes stirred, recalling loans of drachmas for voyages to Black Sea ports, repaid in amber beads or Scythian furs, amid symposia laughter, the sense of thyme and honey from market stalls, faintly preserved in the walls, turning the hidden rooms into a symphony of mercantile heritage where philosopher bankers, pondering in chitin-clad repose, would listen to these echoes during nocturnal vigils, the dreamy vibrations sparking ideas for colonial trades without the discord of ancient feuds, lulling the polis into a state of intellectual harmony where commerce's past informed its future, ensuring the temple's sanctity endured amid the waves of the wine-dark sea. Feel the echo's gentle pulse like a heartbeat in the earth, guiding us to Roman forums amid the Tiber's murmuring flow, scented with rosemary from hillside gardens. These crypts resonating with the robust negotiations of Trajan's as-market vendors, trading garum jars for Gallic wool in marble arcades, their contracts bound in vellum codices shelved below, the vibrations manifesting as muffled rumbles like distant chariot wheels when the city stirred above, evoking the barters for Eastern spices or British tin, loans of Aurii repaid in amphitheaters' gate receipts during ludi games, the air laced with the faded essence of olive oil presses and baked bread from Thermopolia, turning the hidden rooms into an orchestral vault of imperial exchanges where argentary and toga-draped solemnity would attune to these resonances in evening reflections, the dreamy echoes inspiring new ventures for aqueduct expansions, without the shadows of civil wars, fostering a structured serenity that upheld the res publica's vast networks, ensuring trade's legacy echoed through the empire's veins like the roads that spanned its breadth. In Persian palaces on windswept plateaus, where the aroma of blooming roses drifted through halls, these chambers echoed with the caravan calls of Susa traders, swapping silk for Arabian frankincense under arched porticos, deals etched on parchments rolled in tubes, resonances humming like the twang of distant lutes in mountain winds, recalling loans of derricks for royal road couriers, repaid in horses from steppe nomads, turning the hidden spaces into a melodic repository of Achaemenid commerce, guardians chanting in harmony with the vibes, dreamy and balanced. Indian stupa complexes amid spice-laden monsoons, scented with cardamom pods, resonated with guild barters for pepper and gems and banyan-shaded mandis. Agreements on palm leaves bound with cords. Echoes rustling like rain on leaves, evoking silk root exchanges repaid in pearls, fostering dharmic equilibrium in meditative attunement. Chinese imperial courts, where bamboo groves whispered with faint winds carrying tea fragrances, echoed with silk broker hagglings in pavilion markets, packs on bamboo slips tied neatly, vibrations like the soft gong of temple bells, inspiring harmonious tributes along the great wall's shadow. These echoes of ancient trades, dear listener, sustain antiquity's commercial soul in dreamy resonance, leading us to the veil of time in tranquil anticipation. Chapter 11. The Veil of Time. In the resonant hum of ancient trades, echoes where the vibrations of bygone barters fade into a soft, enveloping silence, like the last notes of a lute dissolving into evening. Dear listener, let us now approach the gossamer boundary that separates eras, the veil of time. That translucent shroud draping the hidden rooms, not as an impenetrable barrier, but as a dreamy membrane through which the essences of past and present mingle in gentle diffusion, allowing the wisdom of antiquity's banks to seep into the continuum of history, fostering a serene transcendence where moments lost to centuries whisper their lessons without the starkness of revelation, turning these subterranean sanctums into timeless bridges of continuity. Imagine this veil as a fine mist curling through the corridors, scented with the faint, ethereal blend of aged incense and blooming night jasmine, its fabric woven from the threads of forgotten hours, shimmering faintly in the dim light of eternal lamps, inviting passage without resistance, lulling the wanderer into a state of profound, unhurried reflection, where time's passage feels less like a relentless march and more like the slow unfurling of a lotus petal in dawn as first light, evoking a peaceful unity that binds the hidden room's secrets across the ages, much like how a quiet river connects distant landscapes in harmonious flow. Dear listener, permit this veil's subtle caress to soothe your senses like a warm breeze through silk curtains, your breaths aligning with its gentle sway as we parted first in the Mesopotamian ziggurats, where the sun's golden arcs over the plains mirrored the eternal cycle of days, this veil manifesting as a haze of dust motes, dancing in shafts of light, piercing narrow vents, blending the era of Hammurabi with echoes of future caliphs, allowing scribes in reed-scripted halls to sense the continuum as they inscribed loans on clay that would endure millennia. The air scented with the timeless aroma of baked earth and river reeds, where time's shroud veiled the transition from Sumerian barter to Arabic diners, fostering dreamy visions of caravans evolving from donkey trains to camel fleets, without abrupt fractures, lulling guardians into meditative states as they polished artifacts, feeling the veil's touch as a reassurance that their vigilance bridged epochs, turning the hidden rooms into sanctuaries where past deposits funded future oases, evoking the Tigris's unchanging murmur, a serene thread weaving through history's tapestry, ensuring wealth's quiet persistence amid shifting sands and dynasties in peaceful, unending harmony. As the veil shimmers with iridescent hues, feel its delicate weave brushing your consciousness, drifting now to the Egyptian temples beside the Nile's timeless ribbon, where pyramids cast elongated shadows across floodplains. This membrane appearing as a luminous fog rising from ritual pools scented with lotus essence and sacred oils, merging the age of pharaohs with Ptolemaic blends and beyond, permitting viziers to glimpse Hellenistic markets through the haze as they sealed packs on papyrus that yellowed gracefully, the air heavy with the perpetual fragrance of myrrh, burning in braziers, where time's veil softened the shift from Theban rings to Roman sestertii, evoking dreamy reveries of barge trades evolving into Mediterranean galleys, without the jolt of conquest, lulling priests in linen garb into trance-like contemplations as they arranged hoards, sensing the veil's embrace as a divine continuity from Osiris's realm, turning the hidden chambers into eternal conduits where ancient loans inspired Coptic commerce, mirroring the Nile's seasonal renewal, a tranquil link across civilization's rise and fall, fostering an unbroken flow of prosperity in the valley's verdant cradle. Envision the veil as a cascade of starlit silk, parting effortlessly as we ascend to Greek acropolises on mist-shrouded peaks, where the Aegean winds carried the salty promise of voyages unending, this shroud materializing as ethereal glow suffusing olive groves, intertwining the epic of Pericles with Byzantine echoes, allowing oracles in prophetic chambers to foresee Byzantine bezants through the mist as they noted drachma loans on wax, the air laced with the enduring scent of wild thyme and sea spray, where time's veil blurred the evolution from stater coins to imperial solidi, fostering dreamy musings of symposia discussions extending into scholarly debates without historical ruptures, lulling hierophants in chiton robes into philosophical drifts as they tended vaults, feeling the veil's whisper as Apollo's eternal light, turning the hidden rooms into timeless forums where classical trades informed medieval guilds, evoking the Parthenon's steadfast gaze, a serene continuum amid the flux of empires, ensuring commerce's wisdom persisted in harmonious dialogue. Feel the veil's velvety texture folding around you, guiding us to Roman basilicas in the forum's marble heart, where aqueduct waters flowed eternally, this membrane emerging as a golden haze from incense altars scented with garum and rosemary, fusing the Republic's vigor with medieval vestiges, enabling Argenteri to sense Lombard bankers through the glow as they bound Aurii contracts in vellum, the air thick with the timeless aroma of Tiber mists and baked clay, where time's veil smoothed the transition to feudal ties, evoking dreamy visions of forum haggling evolving into Venetian ducats, without the chaos of barbarian tides, lulling vigils in tunics to reflective pauses as they patrolled, sensing the veil's presence as Jupiter's enduring decree, turning the hidden crypts into bridges spanning from Caesars to popes, mirroring the road's unyielding paths, a peaceful thread weaving imperial legacy into Renaissance rebirth, fostering wealth's quiet endurance through the ages. In Persian palaces atop enduring plateaus, where rose gardens bloomed perennially scented with attar and saffron, the veil appeared as a silken mirage, shimmering in lamplight, linking Achaemenid derricks to Sassanid durhams, guardians chanting hymns that echoed through eras, dreamy and balanced in Zoroastrian light. Indian stupa groves, amid banyan eternities scented with sandalwood paste, veiled the shift from Mauryan Karshapanas to Mughal rupees, monks meditating on karma's wheel, fostering dharmic continuity in serene reflection. Chinese imperial pavilions, where bamboo stood timeless scented with jasmine blooms, shrouded the passage from Han tales to Tong Cash, courtiers practicing arts that spanned dynasties, ensuring harmonious flow in yin-yang balance. These veils of time, dear listener, drape antiquity's hidden rooms in eternal grace. Their gentle folds a lullaby of continuity, leading us to the chamber of shadows in tranquil embrace. Chapter 12. The Chamber of Shadows. In the translucent folds of the veil of time, where epics blend in a hazy, luminous dance like moonlight, filtering through gossamer clouds, dear listener, let us now slip into the deeper recesses that elude even the faintest glimmers. The chamber of shadows, those enigmatic voids within the hidden rooms, not as foreboding abysses, but as velvety sanctuaries of profound obscurity, cradling the unspoken mysteries and uncharted depths of ancient banking, where darkness served as a gentle custodian, enveloping secrets in layers of soft, impenetrable night, fostering a dreamy introspection that allowed the mind to wander freely amid the unseen, turning these shadowed alcoves into havens of quiet revelation without the glare of illumination. Imagine the air growing denser, cooler, scented with the subtle, earthy musk of untouched stone and the faint dampness of subterranean springs, the shadows pooling like spilled ink across uneven floors, swallowing sounds and sights in their plush embrace, inviting a surrender to sensory subtlety where touch and intuition guided the way, lulling the explorer into a state of serene detachment where the absence of light amplified the whispers of intuition, much like how a starless night heightens the glow of inner thoughts, evoking a peaceful communion with the unknown that bound the hidden room's essence in eternal, shadowy grace. Dear listener, yield to the shadow's tender envelopment like a leaf drifting on a midnight stream, your breath softening into their inky rhythm, as we immerse first in the Mesopotamian ziggurats, where the desert night's velvet blackness mirrored the chamber's depths. These shadowed nooks burrowed beyond the torchlit vaults, accessed through narrow fissures that seemed to swallow entrance whole, their walls of unbaked clay absorbing all echoes into silence, the air scented with the primordial tongue of loam and latent clay, where priests navigated by memory alone, their palms tracing reliefs of forgotten deities to locate concealed niches holding emergency hoards of silver talents, shrouded in darkness to confound invaders like the Elamites, fostering dreamy meditations on impermanence as guardians sat cross-legged in the void, attuning to the faint drips of hidden aquifers like rhythmic mantras, turning the chamber into a womb of contemplation where shadows veiled prophecies of economic tides without the distraction of visible wealth, lulling the soul into visions of starlit caravans crossing endless dunes, ensuring the ziggurat's secrets endured in hushed obscurity, a serene counterpoint to the sun-baked world above, blending vigilance with the peaceful surrender to night's embrace. As the shadows deepen their hold, feel their cool caress seeping into your essence, drifting now to the Egyptian temples along the Nile's obsidian reflections under moonless skies. These chambers delving into bedrock voids behind false obelisks that pivoted silently, engulfing visitors in absolute darkness, scented with the ancient residue of natron and resinous gums, where scribes, eyes closed in reverence, would feel their way to shadowed repositories of golden debon reserved for pharaonic contingencies. The blackness a deliberate veil, invoking Amun's hidden aspects, fostering tranquil trances amid the void's embrace. As fingers brushed against cool amulets and sealed jars, evoking reveries of nocturnal rituals where shadows danced with spirits of the Duat, turning the space into a sanctuary of mystical insight without the intrusion of light's revelations, lulling priests into prophetic dreams of flood season abundances or drought-born loans, ensuring the temple's resilience through eras of upheaval, a dreamy fusion of obscurity and divine wisdom that mirrored the Nile's dark, life-giving depths in perpetual, shadowed harmony. Envision the shadows as living silk, wrapping gently around us as we ascend to Greek acropolises on storm-cloaked heights, where the Mediterranean's nocturnal gales whispered through fissures. These alcoves extending into cavernous hollows beyond lamp reach, entered via descending ropes that swayed softly into the void, the air laced with the mineral chill of rock and faint ozone from underground streams, where philosophers' bankers retreated to ponder in darkness, their minds illuminating ethical dilemmas of usury amid the gloom. Shadows cloaking wax tablets of clandestine pacts with foreign envoys, fostering serene soliloquies on virtue's balance, as the absence of sight heightened auditory echoes of distant waves, crashing like eternal questions, turning the chamber into a platonic cave of introspection without visual illusions, lulling the intellect into dreamy dialogues with unseen muses, ensuring the polis's financial philosophies evolved in veiled profundity, a tranquil interplay of lightless wisdom amid the starry Hellenic night. Feel the shadow's velvet density cradling your form, leading us to Roman basilicas in the forum's midnight hush, where the Tiber's black waters lapped rhythmically, these crypts plunging into unlit sublevels behind locked grates that creaked open into oblivion, scented with the dank essence of moss and aged concrete, where vigils conducted blind patrols, memorizing layouts to safeguard shadowed vaults of emergency orei for senatorial plots. The darkness a strategic shroud evoking Pluto's underworld realm, fostering quiet ruminations on fate's twists as guardians rested against cool walls, attuning to the faint vibrations of the city above like muffled heartbeats, turning the space into a stoic refuge of resilience without the glare of torches, lulling the spirit into visions of imperial expansions born from nocturnal strategies, ensuring Rome's dominion persisted through shadowed contingencies, a serene undercurrent to the empire's luminous facade. In Persian palaces under constellation-draped skies, where nocturnal winds sighed through halls, shadows gathered in cliff-carved hollows, scented with latent spices and earth, guardians meditating in the dark on Ahura Mazda's light within obscurity, veiling Derrick reserves for royal exiles, dreamy and balanced in eternal duality. Indian stupa depths, amid root-tangled voids scented with decaying humus, monks embraced shadows as Maya's illusion, contemplating karmic debts in blindness, fostering dharmic insights in tranquil void. Chinese palace abysses, where bamboo echoes faded into silence, scented with subterranean mist. Courtiers harmonized with yin darkness, pondering dynastic strategies in obscurity, ensuring balanced continuity. These chambers of shadows, dear listener, enfold antiquity's deepest mysteries in velvety peace, their obscure depths a lullaby of introspection, guiding us toward the sanctuary of silence in serene unfolding.